You are welcome to another edition of Famous One Sports TV. And this time round, the pendulum is swinging to a different level. We've done a lot of sporting activities like football and other stuff, but we are moving to a level where we have a lot of challenges. Now, if you want to do that, you need to get someone who has in-depth knowledge, who is endowed with boxing to discuss a lot of things with you. Now, for clarification purposes, I shouldn't have even introduced the person. And for emphasis sake, we need to introduce the person. He's a journalist by profession as well. He's a communicator. He's a ring announcer. And of course, he's also a lecturer. If you are looking for someone to digest into boxing, then you need to consult Sheikh Mohammed Amin Lamptey. He is my resource person for today's interview. Do stay with us in about 30 minutes time.
Audio Jungle.
You are welcome back to Famous One Sports TV. Say, you are welcome to Famous One Sports TV.
I'm most grateful. Your introduction and the way you introduced me has really sent some shivers down my spines. You seems to have intimidated me, but all the same, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm grateful.
Let's start with current issues. We all know that there is Olympic Games ongoing in Tokyo, Japan, to be precise. And looking at the performance of the boxers that we sent there, it seems only one person is making a headway for a medal. What is your total assessment of the boxers who were sent to Tokyo?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I think that it is a very, very important issue that needs to be discussed. And you and I know that when it comes to the Olympic Games, Ghana started competing in 1952. And so far, we've got some medals. And most of these medals came from boxing. I remember in 1962 was Clement Korte, the elder brother of Agbasuko Korte. It came to 1964. It was our uncle, and who also went and won it. And then before, we also had another person in 1972. So I think that this is a young chap who has really compensated Ghanaians after Eddie Blay, Clement, and then I think there's one person, his name has really escaped me, who have made it. He has compensated Ghanaians after 29 years of waiting. Yeah. So I think that this is the time for us to reopen what we have opened and closed a couple of years ago. For me, I'm excited because the three boxers who represented Ghana in Tokyo, talking about Suleimana, Samad Shaku, and then this young chap, Samuel Takyi. These are the best that we have. They qualified and they deserve to be there. If you look at the way they started, it was very promising. But you see, going to the tournament is one thing. Yeah. Be able to understand the rudiment and be able to live up to the billing is another thing. From the word go, even though two of them won their first two fights, I saw a bit of technical inaptitude. I talked about it because I don't see their defense coming. It looks like they are punching power, not really, refined. If you look at their jabs, it is not well refined. If you look at their ring generalship, there's a problem with it and all that. Shakur lost the fight, but Takyi and Suleimana move on. So if you look at how Suleimana lost the fight, he lost the fight based on techniques. Yes, he based on techniques because he went into the fight, wanted to do the normal thing, chasing your opponent and all that. It's all about being calm. Steady your opponent and know when to land your punches. And then if you look at Takyi, yes, all of us were excited that he got himself into the medal zone. Yeah. So whether it's silver, bronze, or gold, we don't care. But our major agenda is for him to go and get the gold. Unfortunately, he lost out and he's not going to come home with a bronze. I think it's very exciting. But the question is, how did he lose that fight? For me, again, he lost the fight based on techniques. And this time around, the basic one here is the defense. Takyi was good. He was good. He was able to match his opponent boot for boot. He even hit his opponent. But it got to the point that clearly he dropped his guard. In a hurry to be able to make up the time and be able to run over his opponent, you open up. So he would land some effective punches. Instead of him defending to shield himself and avoid his opponent getting him, he rather open up. So when he gets pop, pop, that is two. But the opponent will get about pop, 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 about 4 or 5. So that is boxing. It's counted. So he lost it technically and tactically. So basically, the guys did very well. We are happy that he has given us a lot to celebrate now after 29 years of waiting. Let's see them coming back home. But there is a lot to do.
Serious one.
A lot to do.
Okay. You are talking about a lot to do. As you said, 29 years down the lane. What are we getting wrongly, of which we are not able to, adjust ourselves when we go to national competitions, international competitions like Olympic Games, because we know Ghana to be producing a lot of boxers. We went to Bukom to do some documentary about boxing. One gym could produce as many as 50 boxers. What are we getting it wrong that we are not able to win laurels, medals at the Olympic Games?
Number one, lack of political will. Number two, lack of national agenda. Number three, lack of organization. Because if you have a political will, then the political will now give birth to the issue of how to raise funds, how to establish gymnasiums, how to identify the talent. You are talking about going to one gym, you have more than 50 boxes.
Exactly.
We don't have the data. So if, for instance, we have almost about 20 gyms in Bukom, and each gymnasium is giving us 50 boxes, 50 times 10. Okay, so this could serve as the fulcrum of boxing that we need to nurture, or boxers that we need to groom. So you have a data. I remember in Cuba, when they started grooming boxing, they started with 16,000 boxes were brought together. And that gave birth to 185 gymnasiums. Yes, facilities to accommodate them and give them the needed impetus. So look at what Cuba is doing at the amateur level. So we need to have political will. When we go out to parliament to deliver our budget, how much do we have for sports development? And in Ghana, interestingly, we have combined the two, youth and sports. So how much do we have for that? Let alone talk about boxing. We have more than 10 disciplines in this country. So how much is it going to boxing? So when you have that, and then you'll be able to have the data that we have this number of boxes, we have this for academy, boxing academy. When you have the boxing academy, that is where you can identify the boxers. Some of them, you give them scholarship to go to school. Some of them, you get job for them through some of these security services. I mean, the Navy. I mean, talk about the Army, the police, the immigration. I mean, prisons and all that. Okay. So when you do that, my brother, then you have a vision. You have started a process. It's not an event. So in Ghana, we've lost out in all this. All that we do is that there's qualifier. Let's get people to come. Let's get a trainer. Take them out to go and qualify. When they qualify, they come. They go represent Ghana. Whether we win or not, it is not an issue. We come back home. We go back to square one and we start again. That is what we've been doing. So for me, I think that if indeed we believe in what we are doing, we need to get that political will. We must also commit ourselves by trying to invest in boxing. And then let's talk about organization. And then we'll talk about the personnel. It is not about coaching boxers or taking care of them, managing them. It's about whether we have the wherewithal. A lot of boxers, you watch them, clearly seeing that most of the trainers just go to talk and then, scream and shout at them. They are not giving them the needed tutelage. Exactly. So these are the things that we need to consider if indeed we are serious about boxing.
Okay. Okay, now when you look at in the early 80s, 90s, we were able to produce the likes of Roy Ankra, DK Poison, Azuma Nelson, even recently I Bazooka Kote and the likes. Um, what has gone wrong once again? Why
Nothing,
we are not able
nothing
to
has gone
produce?
wrong. All the things you're talking about, 70s was DK Poison. Ryan Kress were in the 60s. DK came through in the 70s, in the 76, 75, thereabout, won the title. Okay, Azuma came in the 80s. Ike Basuka Kote came in the 90s. Himself and then Anaya Kunedu, and then the Cobra came in the 90s. 2000 came Joshua Clotte, Joseph Kinkona Gbeko, I mean, Isaac Degbe, Imano Tego, and all that. You understand what I'm saying? So the point here is that nothing has gone wrong. These individuals went out on their own.
Okay.
We don't have any deliberate effort that we've put in place to say that this is what we are doing, to be able to say that, look, we are counting down. This is what we have done in terms of infrastructure,
Okay.
in terms of funding, in terms of investment. So we have sowed a seed, and this is the kind of fruit we are expecting. No, it is like try and error.
Okay.
In Ghana, it's all about try and error. Azuma came from nowhere. He was given an opportunity and he became a world champ. DK Poison, the same thing. Agbazuko Kote, he just went on a try and he won a title. Go back and look at Godfred Cobra Kote, the same thing, the late. Nanea Kunedu from Sunyani, the same thing. Okay, Joseph Kinkona Gbeko, his career took a nosedive. He came back and then won a title. Joshua Clotte, the same thing. Emmanuel Tego, the same thing. Recently, Richard Comey, the same thing. Now look at Isaac Dugbe. He was an amateur boxer in 2012. 2013, he became a professional boxer. And then from nowhere, he won a title. So he realized that as a country, we don't have an effort that is in place that will tell us that, look, no, we can easily predict that from now to, let's say, 2-3 years' time, we can produce champions. It is individual effort. Most of the trainers are people who have not been trained. It is true passion and enthusiasm that most of them got themselves into coaching. So we have a long way to go.
Okay, I think you were even involved in the establishment of Martin Boxing League.
Very well.
Yeah, I used to come there to
I was a
watch.
key factor.
Exactly. But why are we not, as a country, or maybe Ghana Boxing Authority, why are we still not bringing some of these things back so that we can really unearth some of these talents,
you see,
and groom them and
the
develop
men
them to become
boxing
champions?
championship of the Martin came with two elements. It was good, and then there was some bad element that I can talk about. Let me start with the negative aspect. The negative aspect is that at that time, it actually pushed a lot of young boxers who were at the amateur ranks to move into professional boxing because there was money. When you fight every week, you get money and go home. So most of them who were at the amateur level where they need to take their time, become to go through the process or go through the mill, they were quickly drafted into professional boxing. So there was a problem with that one. And again, if you look at the professional boxers, the positive aspect, after giving them the gym, give them the trainers, give them the motivation, they need competition to grow.
Okay.
So the men only every 2 weeks, those who are professional boxers, it gave them the platform, okay, to test their force, to fight among themselves, okay, to be able to know their strength and their weaknesses. And the coaches would also have the chance of watching and observing their boxers and see whether what they are imparting is working or not. So that was the positive aspect of the Martin Boxing League. Okay. But the question is, why was it not sustainable? Because of funding. If, as a country, Ghana, we have budget just like South Africa, where we have budget for boxing, we are saying that in every year, we are expecting to have, let's say, about 10 competition for our boxers. The money is there. Okay. Promoters will come on board. TV stations will come on board. People like you will come on board. Let us all do it. We will get there. But there is no funding. An individual will come and invest into it. He gets nothing. He gets nothing. There is no any leverage. Even those that want to sacrifice their everything and do it, there is no tax rebate. If my organization is going to support boxing, and government has a policy that when you support boxing, you have certain threshold where you enjoy some tax rebate. This is going to attract organizations and companies to come on board. And that is what people have done. Cuba got to where they have gotten to through some of these things. The gyms that they put up, they started with the soccer academy, boxing academy, by an individual, and the country came out with their own gymnasium, and individuals now start coming. Organizations, they will come, establish the gyms, and brand the gym in their colors and their trademark. That is how it's done everywhere. But in our country here, I don't know whether to call it, I don't know the word to use. I wouldn't want people to take me out of context. Our political leaders, I don't know whether they are not observing, whether they don't monitor, whether they cannot feel and see what is happening elsewhere. This Ghanaian boxer against an American boxer, even when you are dreaming, when you are dreaming, you would tell yourself that the American guy is going to win.
Exactly.
I mean, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of energy, in terms of motivation, the Ghanaian boxer cannot stand toe-to-toe with the American boxer. But we saw the fight. Even though I have problem with the judgment, the split 4-1, I have problem with it. Because I think that it should have been 3-2 based on what I saw and from where I watched the fight.
Okay. All right. We will come back and then discuss what you just raised. Okay. You are still watching Famous One Sports TV. Our guest for today is Sheikh Mohammed Amin Lamptey. We are back in the jiffy. Stay with us.
Audio Jungle.
You are welcome back to Famous One Sports TV. As I said, our guest here is Sheikh Mohammed Amin Lamptey. We are discussing the development of Ghana boxing. Now, when we look at boxing in Ghana, do we still have a potential to develop great boxers to become world champions?
The word is more than potential. The word is more than prospect. We have a lot to offer. And most of the guys are hiding until you roll out a strategy that would come along with some kind of magnetic element that can bring them on board. The magnetic element here is that most of these guys understand now that education is key to whatever you want to do in this world. So why don't you catch them young, give them scholarship, let them go to school, let them have their 3 meals a day. Get them together, house them, be able to know what they are about. Those who have crossed a certain threshold regards to their age, get them drafted into some of the security services as usual. And then those who are not interested in that, get them drafted into certain organizations, let them work and get something. And then let's see the way forward. Let's see ourselves believing in ourselves, getting the infrastructure right, get the right people, give them the support, get them to enhance what they know about boxing. Boxing has now changed. Boxing is now scientific. It's not the issue of you being born and bred in Bukum. You've watched boxing, you wake up one day from your dream, I'm a trainer. No, we have to move away from that. People must come out with solid credentials. With solid credentials and tell us that, look, indeed, they have arrived. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the sport and help the country Ghana. We have a lot of talent. Until you get there, put the ring down and see how guys will come and mount onto the ring, and then you'll be surprised.
Do we have the willingness, especially all these things that we are talking about? Sometimes somebody will say it is just a paper or it's just an idea that we have, but implementation and the willingness to implement the ideas, that is what we are lacking.
The ideas are there. You cannot implement when your strategy is not right. You must have an idea. You turn the idea into vision. The vision will require that you must have certain important ingredient that can easily underpin your vision and mission. And that is the infrastructure. That is the motivation. That is the incentive. So if the trainer, the boxer, the other backroom staff are all excited, they are happy, they go home, they can take care of their kids, pay school fees, pay light bill, water bill, They will go to training. But how could you go to training as a trainer? Even getting money to buy kinky is a problem.
Yeah.
The boxer goes to training and come home, is going to eat kinky and pepper. There's no fish.
exactly.
How do you groom such a talent? So what I'm trying to say is that, look, we must try as much as we can to sit down, tell ourselves that we need a policy that is going to bring on board all the needed ingredient that we need: funding, personnel, commitment, dedication, devotion to the sport, and I'm telling you, we'll get there. That is what others are doing. You understand what I'm saying? You have guys moving around. When they tell you they are boxers, you don't believe it until they get into the ring.
Exactly.
But because of what they will eat, some of them have become breadwinners of their families. So they come to training, nobody gives them anything. They have to go out there. That is why most of them, if they have nothing doing, some people out there will come and use them negatively.
Okay.
Go and do this, go and do, because the person must leave. So what I'm trying to say here is that, look, as a country, we seem not to appreciate boxing.
That is it.
Because the medals we're talking about, we got them through boxing. What have we done for boxing?
Yeah.
Apart from the Bukom boxing arena that we have, what do we have across the country? Boxing, yes, we can say that Bukom is the mecca of boxing in this country, is the cradle of boxing in this country. But hey, go to Upper East, go to Northern region, go to Volta region, go to Upper West, go to Eastern, go to Western. Eddie Blay is coming from the Western region.
Yeah.
Agboko and then Dugbe coming from the Volta region. Is that not it?
Yeah.
So Nana Akuredi is coming from Sunyani. So this is a former world champion. What have we done in his region? Okay.
Even this Samuel Takyi who is about to win.
Exactly. You understand?
Yeah.
So we have to understand that Ghana is a country where it is not only Accra that represents Ghana. We must have an idea of trying to spread our tentacle to other regions. Let's have the gymnasiums. Let's see what these guys will do. Now, when you go to other countries like South Africa and Egypt, my brother, you will marvel. Every region has a national sports complex. And then when I describe the acre of land that was used to establish those academies, you marvel. You can't even walk from one end to the other. Everything is in there. Football, basketball, boxing, badminton, everything. So kids will go there and they all know where they belong. And they have observers, they have monitors monitoring them. These guys are evaluated according to their plan. And these guys are factored into their national teams. So that is why country like Takyi will go to the Olympics and beat our boxer. What has Takyi done in boxing? Are you there with me?
Yeah.
Because of the motivation.
Exactly.
The guy is in high spirits. And then your Ghanaian boxer, yes, he left Omo, I'm going to win. He gets in there. The Turkish boxer had some technique that he learned from a professional trainer. And then he will by all means, overcome our boxer. So, my brother, look, we have to understand that boxing has done it again. So I'm just using this platform to tell the President of the Republic, Nana Arodanko Akufo-Addo, himself was a former boxer. He's a lover of boxing. Let's see what we can do. They must try to empower the minister. Sometimes you may sit here to say that Ghana is doing nothing. It is about how much have they given the Ministry of Youth and Sports as a budget allocation for sport before it even gets to boxing. Nothing. The kitty is empty. So I'm really challenging His Excellency. Now we have given the country another medal. What are we doing? Are we going to sit on the fence again? Or we are going to rather say that, look, this is the moment for us to try to gel. Let's get boxers, let's get them motivated. And I'm looking forward to see Ghanaians celebrating Takyi.
Yeah.
The trainer, Coach Asari, Ofori Asari, he needs to be celebrated. Over 29 years ago, I can't remember the coach who gave us the medal, but this is a young trainer who has been with boxing for years, and today he has won a medal. How are we going to celebrate them? Because the way we celebrate them is going to serve as an impetus, as a motivation to others to emulate what they have done.
Exactly. So we are talking about the main architect of the game itself, the boxers. Now, what do we also do to make sure that we are getting the right people on board to nurture some of these people and develop them into the world beaters? For instance, the trainers, as we are talking about, and other backroom staff who are also going to complement to make sure that we are developing and getting boxers.
Get a framework. When you get a framework, if I'm not qualified, I cannot get into the framework. When you have a policy, you have a system,
Yeah.
and then you develop a strategy. It's just like you are employing people. There is a system where you have to go through some interview. Yourself, you go for the interview. If you get the job or not, you know. So let them come one by one to justify their inclusion. I mean, the boxers, the trainers, the backroom staff, every single individual who is a stakeholder must come to justify his inclusion. In other countries, you have companies are even competing for sponsorship, like boxing. Now we have gone to get a medal. Now the name of boxing has gone to another level.
Yeah.
So we should have organizations in this country now chasing boxing for sponsorship. So when they come, we should not just allow them to just get into it. They need to be scrutinized. When you have such system, my brother, the right things will be done. There are other countries where you cannot just wake up and then say that I'm coming to sponsor football. They have to check you. The job you do, where do you get your money? It is not about you have the money to come and sponsor, no, because they are looking at the longevity of the success that they are anticipating. They will not allow you to just come and say you are sponsoring. So when you have the framework for boxing, in terms of the type of gyms that we need, the trainers, the boxers, and all that, my brother, the right things should be done. But now everything is being done haphazardly. So everybody can just come and say, I'm a boxer. Okay? Everybody can come and say, I'm a coach.
That's true.
There's no check and balances. But if you have check and balances, at least a trainer, you need maybe senior high school certificate, speak good English, not necessarily. You can speak your Ghana or speak your Hausa, but academically, you must have a level where you can write, you can read, okay, you can plan your training and all that. When we get there, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, people will not appreciate that indeed we have arrived. When you go to other countries, they have their limits. If you don't have certain things, you don't even dare to come. That is why in Ghana football today, they have a system where if you don't have lances, is it lances A or B?
Yeah.
Lances A, you are not qualified to coach Premier Division. Exactly so. So those who have the passion and those who are interested would have to go back to school. Going back to school means that go and better your lot. Nobody says that you are not good, but go and better your lot.
Okay.
So that is what I'm saying. So we need a framework for boxing. When we have the framework, everything that we'll do will be done right.
Okay. It seems these challenges cut across the entire sporting fraternity. When you look at the way we develop our sports, especially soccer, as we even call it, the passion of the nation. We do everything just like the way we want to participate. We don't really develop the people very well. Your summary of the entire boxing industry. How do we develop boxing and also get people on board to be world champions?
We need total overhauling. The total overhauling calls for strategy. We must have think tanks to sit down to understand what we are about. We must have a vision, a mission. Maybe 5-year development plan for boxing. We look at infrastructure, we look at personnel, we look at the boxes, we look at sponsorship, and we look at how to consolidate our gains and be able to know that we are Ghana. We have produced more than 10 world champions. We have produced about 4 medals from the Olympics, all coming from boxing. So this is how we should do it. In our next appearance at bigger stage, Commonwealth or Olympics, we are anticipating that we will move from silver or from bronze to gold. And then when we get 1 gold, we'll be looking at getting more golds. We should have a plan. When we have a plan, we are going to work towards that plan and achieve our aim.
Okay.
But we always go without planning, haphazardly. We just go try and error. When we go, we complain, we talk about so many things, we end up getting nothing. We come back after 2 weeks of celebration and everything is gone. So if that is done, because my brother, you need to ask yourself, Ignatius, why must you say that Ghana as a country, apart from boxing, we've not made any headway in other disciplines? Swimming. When we have look at what we have. It's amazing.
Serious.
It's unbelievable. Swimming, we are not there. Athletics, we are not, everything, we are not there. Go and check America. America started with 24 athletes. They started when Olympics started in the 18 something. They started with just 24 athletes. Today, they send almost about 300, 400 athletes for a game. What about Ghana? Recently, we traveled with 24 athletes. And then we traveled with 24 athletes competing 5 disciplines, boxing included. So it tells you that we have a long way to go.
I don't know, but the information I learned is 14. I stand to be corrected though.
But 14,
Yeah,
14 athletes, and then represented 5 disciplines. Exactly.
Yes.
14, and they will represent 5 disciplines. This is really this is not encouraging. We have to do more. So, my brother, what I'm trying to say finally is that
All right.
sport is like a commodity that can change a country. Unfortunately, Ghana, we've brought together 2 critical elements of a country: youth and sport. Sport has become like an industry where a country can use it, to neutralize issues about unemployment and all that. I gave you an example where you have these boxers, draft them into security services, give them job. A lot of guys who think that this is the shortest way of getting to where I want to get, they will come and start with boxing. Some of us, yes, I attended the journalism school and did journalism, communication, PR and all that. But we have a lot of guys who are today renowned sports journalists. They never studied journalism.
Yeah.
They were untrained, but naturally they use sports journalism to get themselves somewhere. Some are lawyers, some are engineers and all that. Yourself sitting here, I don't know whether you study journalism, but you are doing it perfectly. You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. Julian Moss, there's one guy who started here, today based in the United States. He's a doctor, he's a lecturer. So what I'm trying to say here is that, look, as a country, let us all wake up and say, look, the time has come for us to turn around, open a new page for our sport. Look, we are talking about 1 million, 1 dam, or whatever they were calling it. 1 million.
One district,
one factory, whatever. So let's assume that we are saying that every constituency, go out there, talk to your chiefs. We need this acre of land that will be used for sports village. Maria, can you imagine what will happen? Now you have it in Kintampo, you have it in Tamale, you have it in Navrongo, you have it in Sandema, you have it in Ho, you have it in all the districts. Can you imagine what Ghana is going to do in sports? Athletics, we know where to get them. Boxers, we know where to get them. Badminton, we know where to get them. Basketball, we know where to get them. But what are we doing? Nothing is happening.
That is great. I know you are enjoying a lot, but it's so unfortunate our time is up and we need to wrap it up. This is just a secret and what I want to tell Sheikh. I used to admire them, especially in the early 2000s when they mount the settings with Julian Mills and then Jeffrey Asare discussing boxing into details. And now here, I am discussing boxing with him. We are so grateful to you.
Ignacio, let me say, it wasn't only boxing.
Okay.
That program, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was told we are yet to get a similar program in
serious?
this country.
I was really enjoying it.
Julian and Jeffrey, they talk boxing,
serious.
car racing, hockey, basketball, football. Look, that was when we discovered Man Pacquiao.
Oh, okay.
Yes, on that same program, we discovered Lionel Mercy. These 2 personalities and myself. So really, as you already indicated, look, we have to open a new page. Yeah. And I'm saying that Takyi is coming home, Asare is coming home. Let's celebrate boxing. Let's give back to boxing. Boxing has given Ghana what Ghana wants. Let's consolidate this victory. Let's consolidate this success that this young man has struck in Tokyo.
All right. Thank you very much,
I'm
sir.
grateful.
All right. Thanks to all the crew, Wahab, the cameraman, and of course, Sandra also supported us heavily, and the director of the entire program, Dr. Julian Bill. Wherever you are, we salute you. Once again, the name is Ignatius Kabuna Asantimita. You can simply call me the wise one. Whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are honorable, whatsoever things are pure, if there be anything worthy, think in earnest of these things. We are out of here.